Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer, Kung Fu athlete, and dedicated dad. It's been a while. I gave you another tutorial. I've been doing a lot of DJ stuff for you, but in this vlog, we'll go back to producing.
Break it down and get you into the groove. Break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down.
Shout out to the comments of last week. A lot of longtime DJs in the comments, a lot of tips and advice you can learn from. Shout out to N-Effect with the #1 comment of last week. Thank you so much for chiming in. A lot of the points you discussed there are really valuable, but most certainly more advanced DJ advice right there. Just like Heaven on the #2 comment of last week, and he thinks I'm the Bruce Lee of DJing. How about that? Thank you everyone for chiming in. I am absolutely sure you will chime in into this tutorial as well. Feel free to leave a comment. Everyone can use your help. Here we go, a UK weekend and 5 basic producer hacks and tips for you. Okay, so I'm out here in London, in the UK. It's a UK weekend and it's a wet situation. Okay, so 5 basic producer tips and tricks for you right here. #1, did you ever have when you produced and you were working with a sample or you froze a signal and you imported it and you start cutting it, that there's a little like tick in front of the signal? And no matter how you cut it, that little tick still sits in there. So I'm gonna show you right here how to get rid of that. So we're diving here in Ableton and I've imported a little loop from like a 808 boom bass, which I use as an example because if you'd cut something like this, you would easily get ticks at the beginning and at the end. So it sounds horrible. The easy thing to do is just to make a little fade out in the begin and in the end. And with this little fade out, you nullify the signal at the beginning and at the end. Because what in fact makes the tick is that the sound cuts off right here on the edge. So in LA the other day I saw Drew working in Pro Tools, and I saw him using the fades, especially when cutting vocals. This really comes in handy, and we have that in Ableton as well. So obviously you have the fade here for the vocal, obviously.
You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes.
If you would cut a vocal and it wouldn't sound seamless and you would hear ticks, especially going into the next words, you can just drag the little point out to the other side and it'll become seamless always. Makes cleaning up the signal a lot easier, right? Which brings me to the #2 thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is clean EQing. So how do you do that? Because, you know, you need to train your ears, you need to make 1,000,000 hours of music, but there is actually a simpler way, and I'm gonna show you right now. Gotta give a shout out to deadmau5, because when you click this little triangle here onto the right, you can put the EQ in oversampling, and what this does is makes it a high quality EQ so you can be more specific. So I'm gonna overly exaggerate the EQ right here just to find the peaks.
You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the.
So I agree, this sounds horrible, but so now we found quite a heavy peak in the resonance here, and the only thing you need to do to clean this up is to dial this back, dial the gain back.
Now rocking with the best. Oh yes.
Put a little bit more resonance in here so that the signal even gets more precise. Maybe we can find one more. Dialing up the resonance here and making another.
Now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best. Oh.
Same story, dial it back.
Now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best.
And you can do this for every synth sound, you can do this on the master, and this is the way you can easily clean up signals. But there's a similar feature in the FabFilter Pro Q as well, something I saw in LA as well, something I picked up from Vince. We're going to look up some peaks, but actually we're going to dial it down straight away.
Rocking with the best. Oh yeah.
So say you're looking into the EQ and you're, EQing right here, and you want to listen to what you're EQing and what the peak is.
With the best.
Simply press this little headphone button right here, and so you can preview the peaks you're tweaking.
Rocking with the best. Yes.
Super handy feature. Shout out to FabFilter for making that on the EQ. Amazing stuff. I'm excited to show you on how to properly work all the parameters that the plugins have, that reverbs have, that choruses have, and delays and that sort of thing. But first, I'm going to take you into the show that I played last night out here in London at Ministry of Sound. Awesome time out playing in London. It was about 3 weeks since I last played, and I actually was kind of nervous going into the set because, what if I stopped being able to DJ and mash up on the fly? None of that happened. I ended up behind the decks and I did my usual thing. The crowd really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it too. An awesome night. Okay, so the number 3 thing in this vlog, working parameters. So how do you exactly do that? Okay, we're just gonna stick with this vocal because it's really easy. I just want to work with, I already did a reverb tutorial. If you haven't seen that, make sure to check out the link below. So this time I'll just grab a delay for it, turn up the dry wet, turn up the feedback, make sure to really over exaggerate. Actually quite similar to what we did with the EQs. So you like where this is going? The simple way to fix this is to dial the dry wet back to make it more subtle.
You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now.
So the same goes for any type of plugin you add. Just over exaggerate it so you can really hear what it does.
Rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best.
So you like this, and then you can make it subtle again.
Rocking with the best. Oh yes. You are now rocking with the best. Oh yes.
And there it is. So you have both effects on there now. They're just subtly in the mix. Next up, I want to talk to you about answering the question, hey, what is your favorite plugin, or how do I make this or that type of sound? Which plugin do I need and everything? I'm going to tell you the truth. Just quickly wanted to show you, because this is a true story and a real life, that I was keeping Laidback Luke fit on this tour as well, going into the workouts. 15 minutes of workout. This was inspired by seeing this right here on the nightstand. Remember when I was on the cover as well? No excuses. When something like a carry-on is really light, just go for reps. About 20 reps and you'll instantly feel it, and it's a good but very short workout. Back to the tutorial, back to you, Luke. Okay, so the number 4 thing in this vlog, which plugin do I use? And this is the answer. Actually, you just need to go and play inside of the plugin. Pick any plugin you want. Within synths, there's not much of a difference between all the synths, and there's plenty more to explain about this than what I will get at right now. But for instance, the ADSR section over here in the synth, ADSR means attack, delay, sustain, and release, which is how the volume of the signal out here in the amp envelope is affected by the parameter. So for instance, if I do less attack on the signal, you'll hear there's a less of an initial peak in the signal. release, which is the end, which is the tail of the sound, makes the sound longer. Okay, so I'm just gonna work the filter here, putting this on low pass. So the filter control, cut off. This is what the filter control does. Puts like a damper on the sound. Say you'd want this to be more future house, then you have the modulation envelope here, and you can assign that onto the filter, and within that you can alter the way the signal on the cutoff works. And now you have all these effects in here as well. So obviously this is not going to be like a silent tutorial, a Silent, which is the name of the synth, obviously. But I just want to show you that going through the various parameters in a synthesizer and just playing around with it can give you amazing results. And this way, in a playful way, you can learn how to use the synth, and you can manipulate it to anything you like. Okay, so one more point in this vlog I'd love to share with you, but first we're gonna look at my show in Manchester. It was a huge show. Don't let daddy know. An amazing time. Stay tuned for the number 5 thing in this vlog right after that.
Get wasted, 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 get wasted. Move your body to the rhythm of the bass. Everybody get wasted.
I must say, I do love playing for the northern UK people, actually the whole of the UK as well. Sadly enough, I don't play there as often as I'd like to, but it's absolutely enjoyable. So before I tell you the number 5 thing you need to know in this vlog, make sure to give me a like and hit that subscribe button right now. So the number 5 thing, I'm gonna keep it very short and simple, is to not worry too much about all the parameters. Kind of like what we discussed in the vlog I did with Chocolate Puma, where you need to realize that music, although music is math as well, music is a feeling as well, music is emotion. And then a lot of times you can actually trust your hearing instead of just looking at the meters. And with trusting your hearing comes a lot of hours of just tweaking music, experimenting with parameters, and I really want you to put the effort in to learn that. Okay, so next week it's going to be a candid vlog because I am actually going to go on Groove Cruise, which is basically a rave festival on a cruise ship, couple of days long. I'm taking you back out into the States to show you my shows and how I survive and what I do in between as well. I'm excited to keep you updated, so make sure to check back into the true story and the real life. See you again next week. Until then, L's up, rave safely, and salute.